Okay, today I'm going to be doing the 3.2 notes, and I'm going to use this little red dot as my pointer. And so the first thing that I want to do with this section is I want to make sure that these two lines are parallel. And so I know these lines are parallel because they put this red arrow here on both of these lines. So that means that those lines are parallel. So if these two lines are parallel, which they are, they're being cut by this transversal. Transversal goes across the two lines, so getting from one line to the other, they would have to take the transversal across. And so this is my transversal cutting my two parallel lines, and so that makes this angle and this angle corresponding angles. And so if we have parallel lines, which we do, and corresponding angles, those would be congruent. That's a biconditional statement. Corresponding angles are congruent if and only if lines are parallel. Lines are parallel, so corresponding angles are congruent. So that means if this angle is 80 degrees, this angle is also 80 degrees. So I'm going to highlight those angles in pink. And then I'm going to write that they are corresponding angles. And that means that x equals 80 degrees, and that's my answer. Okay, going over to the next example, so now I'm going to look at C. I know that these two lines are parallel because they have these red arrows on them, so that means that they are parallel, and then this would be my transversal. So now the angles that I'm looking at are up here and over here, and these two angles are called corresponding angles. Again, we have corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are congruent if and only if lines are parallel, which they are. So congruent means that 2x minus 45 is going to equal x plus 30. Now in order to solve for x, I have to get x all by itself on the same side, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides, and then I'm going to add 45 to both sides, and I get that x equals 75. Now they didn't want me to solve for x, they wanted me to solve for the measure of angle DEF. So D is here, E is here, and F is here, so DEF means I'm solving for this angle. So I'm going to plug in 75 for x, and 75 plus 30 gives me 105. So the measure of angle DEF equals 105 degrees, and that's my answer. Okay, for letter B, I have two parallel lines. That's what these red arrows mean. And then I have the transversal. And so the angles that I'm talking about are up here and down here. These two angles are called alternate exterior angles. So I'm going to write alternate exterior angles. And what I know about alternate exterior angles is that they're congruent if and only if those lines are parallel. Lines are parallel, so that means they're congruent, which means they're equal. So x equals 125 degrees. Okay, now last example, we have two parallel lines. So this arrow and this arrow say they're parallel. That makes this the transversal. And so the angles that I'm talking about are down here and down here. These two angles are called same side interior angles. And I draw out the S's because same side means supplementary. So first I'm going to write same side interior angles, but that means supplementary, whereas all of the other ones were congruent. So supplementary means they're going to add up to 180 degrees. So supplementary, we can take that S and turn it into an 8. So that means 13x plus 23x is going to equal 180 degrees because they're supplementary. So now 23x plus 18x is going to give me 36x. And if I divide both sides by 36, then x equals 5. And wait, that's not what they want. They wanted to know what is the measure of angle TUS. So T is here, U is here, and S is here. So we're looking for this angle. And so if I take X and I plug it in, that means 23 times 5. So the measure of angle TUS is 115 degrees.